All right, good morning, everybody. Welcome to our 25-minute, just all levels, really gentle flow this morning. We're just going to start in seated position. If you want to prop your hips up on a blanket, a pillow, or a block, um, you have that option. You can even kind of stagger those feet a little bit so the shins are side by side instead of crossed. You can rest those hands on the knees, sitting up nice and tall. We'll just take a few breaths here. Let everybody jump on and join us. So just take a moment to pull those shoulders up by the ears, soften them down and back. So we're sliding those shoulder blades together and down. Lift through the chest, closing down those eyes. Really tall through that spine. And taking a big breath in through the nose, expanding through that rib cage. We'll breathe into that belly will expand. Just exhale all of that air out. Taking a big breath in. Expanding through the belly, through the rib cage. And exhale it out. One more time, just like that on your own. Let that belly expand, that rib cage expand. Just exhale that breath out nice and slow. From here, you can blink open those eyes. If you want to keep them closed, that's your option too. I just go ahead and drop your left ear over to that left shoulder. So stretch through that right side of the neck. And then we'll start to bring that chin to the chest. So real slow with it. So switch that stretch kind of from the side to maybe the back of the neck. And then we can just sweep that ear over to that right side again. Hold it there. Keep sitting up nice and tall. And bring that chin to the chest. So move really slow. If you let stretch move along the back of the neck over to the other side. And then bring that chin to the chest. Go over to that right side. And over to that left side. Now from here, we're going to hold it on that left side. Now start to just look down. So turn that gaze. So this stretch switches to where the side of the neck to more the back of the neck, just right along that right part of the neck. And we'll bring that gaze back up. So keep the ear down. And then again, drop the chin to the chest. We'll go over to that other side. And we'll start to look down towards that right knee. So feel that stretch move to right along that left side of the spine. And just lift that gaze back up so the ear stays down. And then just go ahead and lift that head all the way up. So reaching those arms up overhead, drawing those elbows down as we open up through that chest. Inhale, reach it back up. Exhale those elbows down, open up through that chest, through the shoulders. Inhale it back up. Last time, draw those elbows down. Now we're going to interlace those fingers behind the back so palms are facing each other as we collapse the hands. And bringing those hands maybe away from those hips. You want the heads of the shoulders to start to roll back instead of rolling forward. Now keep the fingers interlaced. We're just going to bring those hands over to your left hip. Now from here, we're going to pull the right shoulder down and back a little bit more, and then we'll drop that left ear down towards that left shoulder. You're going to kind of move this one a little bit, so just start to look down towards that left knee. And then gaze forward and look down, just move really slow. Then lift that head up. Let's bring the hands to the other side. Drop that ear down. And if you want to move through this, you can look down towards that right knee. Lift that head with the gaze and bring it back down. Just moving. Whatever works for you, whatever stretches out through that neck. Bring it back up. Go ahead and release those hands. Go and plant those hands onto your mat. And we'll roll over into that tabletop position. So hands are right underneath the shoulders. Knees are right underneath those hips. On that inhale, we're going to drop the belly, lift the chest, lift the tailbone as we look up. And exhale, we'll round the spine. Draw that belly up and in as we look towards those thighs. Then inhale, drop the belly, lift the chest, lift the tailbone as we look up. And exhale, round. Inhale, lift and lengthen. And exhale, round. One more time. Inhale, lift. Woo. And round. And bring it to neutral spine. We want to keep those hips right over those knees. We want to walk those hands forward. It's going to be kind of that same idea. Really active, pressing into the palms, pulling those arms towards each other. Then we're going to soften it down. And we're going to round. So draw that belly up and then rounding through that upper back. Tuck that chin. And inhale, we'll pull that chest forward as we gaze forward slightly. And then round, draw that belly up and in. And then bring that chest down and forward. And round it back up. The last one. Lower that chest down, maybe lower that forehead down. And then we can hold it here. Big stretch through that upper back, through those shoulders. Then we're going to lower those forearms down to the mat. So we're going to come into that forearm plank. So on those toes, or just drop those knees down, keeping that core really tight. Strong through those legs. Chest is pulling forward, but we're not leaning out through those shoulder blades. We want to press those shoulder blades away from each other so they lay flat-ish on the back. So 3, 2, and 1. There you go. Just warming up that body a little bit. Point those toes. Drawing those elbows back as we lift up through the crown of the head. Slight tuck of the chin, so we're looking towards that top edge of the mat. And even here, we can look over to that right side. And one neck stretch. Look over to that left side. Bring it back to center and soften it down. We're going to press it right back into a child's pose. Sinking those hips back to those heels, reaching arms forward. And rest that head down for a breath. And they'll come up onto those hands and knees. We want to come back to that puppy pose. So hips are staying above those knees. We're walking those hands forward. We'll pulse it 3 times. So into those cat-cow. So pulling that chest forward and up. And rounding the spine, drawing that belly in, tucking the chin. And inhale, pull that chest forward as we pull that sternum down towards the mat. And round. Last time, lengthen out through that upper back. And round. And now we'll soften those forearms down as we step it forward, or step it back, I guess, into that forearm plank. And let's go 3, 2, and 1. Lower those hips down, point the toes. Drawing those elbows back, pull the shoulders down, lift up tall through that top of the head, tucking that chin just slightly, looking towards that top edge of the mat. We'll look over to the right, center, to the left, and center. Soften it down. Hands will come underneath the shoulders as we press it back into a child's pose. Now this time in our child's pose, I want the knees coming together to touch. So the shins or the calves are coming together, 2 feet are together. Sit back onto those heels. Now we're gonna bring those elbows to our knees and then bring the forearms together. So we're curling into that teeny tiny little ball. And now, little opening through that upper back. We're gonna bring our right hand, so right hand out, turn that thumb down, and then we're just gonna bring the back of the hand to that, to our tailbone. Okay, if it wants to come to the other opposite hip, that's fine too. So take a big breath in. On the exhale, we're gonna look first, and then we're gonna open up, big twist over that shoulder, and don't let the hips sway off to one side. Stay in that really tight confined ball. Open up a little bit more on that exhale. Hold, breathe. Slowly come out of it on that inhale. And exhale, we're going to look over the shoulder first. Open up. Come back out of it. Last time. Look first. And open up. And slowly make your way out of it. Lowering that forearm down. Let's go to the other side. Okay, so hook that right elbow to that knee. Extend that left arm out, so we'll bring the back of the hand towards that, to that tailbone or towards the opposite hip. Big breath, inhale. Exhale, look over the left shoulder first, and then start to open up, twist. Hold it, breathe, maybe open up a little bit more. And slowly inhale your way out of it. Exhale, look first, and twist. And inhale out. Let's go one more time. Exhale, starting to twist. And inhale your way out of it. And go ahead and come back up onto those hands and knees. Let's do a few more rounds of that cat cow. So inhale, drop the belly. Lift the chest, lift the tailbone as we look up. Exhale, round. Inhale, lift and lengthen. Exhale, round. One more time. Inhale, lift and lengthen. And exhale, round. Good, bring it back to neutral spine. Let's go ahead and step those feet back to a plank. And then we'll bring those hips up and back into that downward facing dog. So we'll hold it here for a couple of breaths. So this is super tight through the calves, the ankles, just take time. Move nice and slow, pedal out those feet, stretching out through those calves. If movement is what you need, go for it. If you just need that stillness, so just that slight bend in the knees, pressing that tailbone up towards the ceiling, pressing that belly back towards those thighs, keeping that core engaged, and then pressing those heels down towards the mat. So it's okay if the heels don't touch. It could be just a lack of ankle mobility or really tight calves. It's okay. Just keeping that nice flat back. You want to feel that nice stretch all along the backs of the legs, maybe into that upper back. One more breath. Come onto the toes. Bend those knees, stepping those feet to the top of the mat. Inhaling, finding that half lift, nice flat back. And exhale those hands down as we fold. And then bend into those knees, flatten out that back. We're going to rise all the way up to standing, reaching those arms up nice and tall. And exhaling those hands to heart center. And inhale, reaching those arms back up. And then exhale, interlace those fingers. We're going to side bend it over to that right side. Inhale it back up. And exhale it over to the other side. Inhale, bring it back up. Draw those elbows down as we interlace those fingers. Open up through that chest. Sorry. So core stays nice and tight. Reach those arms back. And then release those hands up overhead. Exhale, fold. And finding that flat back on that inhale. And exhale, fold. Inhale, slight bend into the knees. Flatten out that back. We'll rise back up. We'll go one more time through this. So interlace those fingers. Bend it over to that right side. Inhale it back up. And exhale it over to that left side. And inhale, bring it back up. Draw those elbows down. Interlace those fingers behind the back. Open up through that chest. And exhale, release those hands back up. From here, the arms are going to stay up. We're going to plant that right foot. We're going to take a big step back with that left foot. Okay, so the toes are turned out just slightly. That back heel is grounded down. Now from here, big bend into that front knee, keeping that back heel down. So if you had really tight calves, this is going to help to stretch that out. Okay, reaching the arms up, rib cage pulls down. Gripping with those toes, lifting through those arches. And we're going to draw those elbows down again, interlace those fingers behind the back, open up through that chest. And now we're going to fold it forward. So bend into that front knee, start to just hover that chest. Maybe that rib cage slides that inner thigh. Maybe that shoulder comes all the way down and touches that knee. So you can look towards that right big toe. And release those arms, bring it back up, and then we'll just step it forward. So left foot steps forward, and then we'll step that right foot back. So then that back heel grounds down. Heel toe will let that left foot out towards that long into the mat. So the wider the feet are, the more stable we're going to be. Reaching those arms up, rib cage down, big bend into that front knee. And then draw those elbows down, interlace those fingers, open up through that chest. And then start to fold so you can hover that chest. Rib cage maybe touches that inner thigh, or maybe that shoulder comes all the way down and touches that knee. And we can release those hands as we rise back up. And stepping those feet back to the top of the mat. Inhaling the arms up. Exhale, fold. Good, then bend to those knees, coming up to standing, reaching those arms up. Just move through that series one more time. So interlace those fingers. We're going to bend it over to that right side. Inhale it back up. And exhale it over to that left side. Inhale, reach it back up. Draw the elbows down, interlace those fingers, open up through that chest. And then we'll release those arms up. You're going to take that big step back with that left foot, ground that back heel down, bend into that front knee. Then we'll draw those arms down, interlace those fingers, open up that chest. And exhale, exhale, fold. Releasing those hands as we rise back up. Stepping the left foot forward, and then that right foot is going to step back. So just keeping into warrior one on that other side. And draw those arms down. Interlace the fingers, open up that chest. And fold. And release those hands as we bring it back up. Stepping those feet to the top of the mat. And exhale, fold. Find that flat back on that inhale. And exhale, we'll plant those hands, stepping those feet back just into our downward facing dog. Pausing it for a few breaths. And then just slowly make your way onto your backs. So start with the knees bent, planting those feet. Arms can just be right down by your sides. So pressing into the feet, gripping with those toes. Okay, we're gonna start to lift just the tailbone up off of the mat. Then continue to roll up one vertebrae at a time, keeping that core nice and tight as we lift up, extending out through those hip flexors, through the quads. Press into the heels, like pull the heels back towards the glutes. You'll feel the hamstrings and the glutes firing a little bit more. And slowly roll it back down. Let's do that 2 more times. Pressing into those feet, rolling those hips up. And roll it down. Last time, press and lift it up. Good, and back down. Hugging that right knee into the chest as we extend that left leg out long. And then just twist. So using that left hand to guide that knee across as that right arm reaches out for that spinal twist. Maybe gazing out towards that right hand. And then bring it back to the center, to the other side. Hug that left knee and right leg extends out. And then we'll just twist that knee across, reaching that left arm out for balance. Easing out towards that hand, so full spinal twist. And then bring it back to center. Hug both of those knees into the chest and just rock forward and back. Come all the way up into that seat. So we'll pause for a few breaths, just like we started. So those hands are on the knees, eyes closed down, sit tall, and roll those shoulders down and back. Again, pause it here. Big breaths in, filling the belly, filling the lungs. Then you can open up the mouth. You can sigh out that breath. Maybe even make it audible again. Big breath in. And exhaling out through the mouth. So one more big breath in. And exhale out through the mouth. And closing down the mouth. Just a few more breaths. They can be a little bit more natural. Making those eyes open. Thank you guys so much for joining me. Have a great rest of your day. And I will see you back here for yoga tomorrow, 4:45.